Breaking chains. The galactic trade hub's neon signs cast harsh shadows across Commander Sarah Chen's face as she studied the holographic manifest floating above her wrist computer. After 15 years in the Terran Defense Force, she thought she'd seen everything the universe had to offer. She was wrong. Another missing colony ship, she muttered, scrolling through the data. The Artemis had vanished 3 weeks ago, joining 5 others that had disappeared in the past year. All in the same sector, all without a distress signal. The crowded marketplace around her buzzed with activity, merchants hawking their wares, species from 100 worlds haggling over prices. But Sarah's attention was fixed on a particular stall, where a tall, reptilian drachnid trader appeared to be selling navigation charts. She'd tracked the colony ship's last known coordinates to this sector. Too many coincidences. Too many lost lives. The trade hub might be neutral territory, but Sarah knew better than most that some of the worst predators wore the masks of legitimate businessmen. The drachnid scales shimmered as he completed a transaction, his customer slithering away with a data crystal clutched in one tentacle. Sarah straightened her civilian clothes and approached the stall, careful to maintain her cover as a freelance cargo pilot. Looking for safe passage through the outer rim? The drachnid asked, his forked tongue flicking between sharp teeth. I have the latest routes, guaranteed to avoid any unfortunate encounters. Sarah smiled thinly. Actually, I'm interested in the Artemis's route. Heard it ran into trouble out there. The trader's inner eyelids flickered, a tell she'd learned to read in her years of intelligence work. Never heard of it. Perhaps you'd be interested in dash. 6 ships, Sarah cut him off, her voice low. 6 human colony ships, all following your safe routes. All vanished. The drachnid scales bristled. Careful, human. Accusations like that could be bad for both our healths. His clawed hand moved beneath the counter. Sarah was faster. Her neural implant activated, slowing her perception of time as combat stims flooded her system. Before the trader could grab his weapon, she had her concealed pulse pistol pressed against his throat. The colonies, she growled. Where are they? You don't understand, he hissed. They'll kill me. Who? The Harvester Collective. They buy the coordinates. Pay well for human ships. Isolated targets, no witnesses. Sarah's blood ran cold. The harvesters were supposed to be a myth, cybernetic parasites that captured other species to experiment on, to dissect, to convert into more of themselves. Where? The drachnid's eyes darted around frantically. Station X-19. Abandoned mining facility in the Carina Nebula. But you can't stop them. They're too powerful, too many. Sarah downloaded the coordinates from his system, then slammed the trader's head against his counter, knocking him unconscious. She'd send security to arrest him later. Right now, she had to move fast. Back on her ship, she activated the quantum comm, connecting to TDF command. This is Commander Chen. I've confirmed harvester activity in the outer rim. Request immediate backup to these coordinates. Static crackled. Then, negative, Commander. All available forces are engaged with the Proxima Centauri uprising. You are ordered to maintain surveillance only. Do not engage. Sarah stared at the coordinates, glowing on her NAV screen. Thousands of colonists, men, women, children, all in the hands of those monsters. Breaking the drachnid had taken weeks of careful, intelligence work. By the time reinforcements arrived, it would be too late. The right choice was to wait. The safe choice was to follow orders. Sarah Chen had never been very good at either. Computer, plot a course to Station X-19, she commanded, powering up her ship's engines. And activate all combat systems. She might be one soldier against an army of cybernetic horrors. But she was human. And humanity had a long history of beating impossible odds. As her ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Sarah checked her weapons and armor one final time. The harvesters had never faced the full fury of a TDF Special Operations commander. They were about to learn why humans had survived every threat the galaxy had thrown at them. They were about to learn the price of underestimating humanity's resolve. The rescue mission was on. And Sarah Chen intended to make it one for the history books. Ghost Station. Station X-19 loomed before Sarah's ship like a massive metal skeleton, its abandoned mining arrays reaching into space like grasping fingers. The Carina Nebula's purple-tinged gases swirled around the structure, occasionally illuminating patches of corroded hull plating. Sarah's scanners painted a grim picture. Though officially abandoned, the station hummed with power signatures. Movement detected in multiple sectors. And something else, biological readings that made no sense, as if the life signs were partially mechanical. Computer, maintain stealth systems at maximum, she ordered, guiding her ship toward a peripheral docking port. The less attention she drew, the better her chances of finding survivors. The docking sequence completed with a muted thud. Sarah sealed her combat suit, checking the integrated weapons systems one final time. The armor was cutting-edge TDF technology, reactive plating, strength amplification, and enough firepower to take on a small army. She'd need every advantage. The airlock cycled, and Sarah stepped into X-19's dimly lit corridors. Her helmet's enhanced vision systems compensated automatically, revealing walls covered in strange, organic-looking growths. They pulsed faintly, like living circuits. Harvester tech, she muttered, recording everything for later analysis. Her motion tracker pinged multiple contacts, 2 decks below. Moving in patterns too regular to be human. Sarah accessed the station's old maintenance shafts, avoiding the main corridors. Years of Spec Ops experience guided her movements, silent, efficient, purposeful. The deeper she went, the more the station's interior changed. Metal and circuits gave way to biotechnology that seemed to breathe. She found her first victim in what had once been a cargo bay. A colonist, or what remained of one. Cybernetic implants had been grafted onto flesh, crude and brutal. The face was frozen in a rictus of agony. Sarah's jaw clenched. Too late to save this one. But others might still have a chance. Her neural implant detected a massive data stream nearby. Following it led to a processing center, screens showing hundreds of stasis pods. Inside each, a human colonist, unconscious, but alive. Waiting to be processed. Jackpot, Sarah whispered, moving to the control console. If she could just. A metallic screech split the air. Sarah spun, weapon raised, as something emerged from a ventilation shaft. It might have been human once, but now it was a nightmare of metal and flesh. More appeared behind it, moving with inhuman speed. Contact. Sarah's combat training took over. Her pulse rifle spat superheated plasma, turning the first harvester drone into molten slag. But there were more. Always more. She dove behind a console as return fire scorched the air. Her armor's shields flared, absorbing hits that would have vaporized unprotected flesh. The harvesters were coordinating, trying to flank her position. Sarah triggered her suit's jump jets, launching herself to an overhead gantry. Computer, initiate Protocol Omega. Her ship's AI acknowledged, beginning the sequence they'd planned. The harvesters followed, climbing walls like mechanical spiders. Sarah switched to her heavy weapons, deploying microgrenades that filled the air with shrapnel and EMP pulses. The drones stumbled, their cybernetic systems disrupted. But Sarah wasn't trying to win. Not yet. She was buying time, drawing them away from the stasis pods. Her ship's computers were already hacking the station's systems, preparing for mass pod ejection. Come on, you cybernetic bastards, she growled, launching another salvo. Show me what you've got. The battle became a deadly dance through X-19's corridors. Sarah used every trick in her arsenal: holograms, sonic disruptors, targeted EMP bursts. The harvesters countered with terrifying adaptability, their collective intelligence learning from each encounter. Her armor was beginning to fail, power reserves dropping. But her ship signaled readiness. The pods were primed for emergency launch. Sarah triggered her last EMP grenade, temporarily stunning her pursuers. She sprinted for the nearest airlock, sealing it behind her. Now. The station shuddered as hundreds of stasis pods ejected simultaneously. Sarah's ship was already moving to collect them, automated systems working at maximum capacity. The harvesters would recover soon, but their prizes were slipping away. Warning klaxons blared. The station's reactor was overloading another part of Protocol Omega. Sarah had rigged it to blow the moment the pods launched. She magnetized her boots as explosive decompression ripped through nearby sections. The harvesters were still coming, but now they faced a choice: pursue her, or save their station. Sarah didn't wait to find out which they'd choose. Her jump jets fired one last time, propelling her through space toward her waiting ship. Behind her, X-19 began to break apart, secondary explosions chaining through its corrupted structure. She reached her ship's airlock just as the station's reactor went critical. The explosion lit up the nebula like a newborn star, the shockwave catching her ship as it accelerated to FTL speeds. In the cargo hold, hundreds of stasis pods waited safely. Not all the colonists, but enough. Enough to call it a victory. Sarah removed her helmet, watching the explosion fade into the distance. The Harvester Collective would survive, she hadn't destroyed all of them. But she'd sent them a message. Humanity wasn't prey. They were going to fight back. And this was just the beginning. The awakening. Sarah's ship, the Artemis's Hope, dropped out of FTL in a remote sector of human space. The medical bay, designed for a small crew, now housed hundreds of colonists in stasis pods. Her neural implant connected to the ship's systems, monitoring their vital signs. Beginning revival sequence, she announced to the empty bridge. Computer, prioritize medical resources to the children first. The pods hissed open one by one. Confused voices filled the ship's corridors as colonists awakened to find themselves rescued from a nightmare they barely remembered. Sarah moved among them, providing water and emergency rations, answering the endless questions as best she could. A young girl caught her attention, maybe 12 years old, with determined eyes that seemed too old for her face. "You're the one who saved us," she said. It wasn't a question. "I'm Commander Chen." "Sarah." "And you are?" "Maya Zhang." I remember them. The machines. They were changing people." Sarah knelt beside her. "You're safe now. They can't hurt you anymore." Maya's hands trembled. "No. You don't understand. I heard them. In my head. They're connected, all of them. And they're angry. They're coming." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Multiple contacts had just dropped out of FTL massive ships, their signatures matching nothing in human databases. The Harvester fleet, Sarah breathed. They'd tracked her faster than expected. Her single ship, already straining to support hundreds of refugees, couldn't hope to outrun them. Maya grabbed her arm. "I can help. When they were in my head, I learned things. About how they think. How they fight." Sarah hesitated. The girl had been through enough trauma. But there was something in those eyes, a strength that reminded her of herself at that age. "Tell me everything." As Maya spoke, Sarah's tactical systems began plotting new strategies. The harvesters operated like a hive mind, coordinating perfectly. But that connection was also a weakness. If they could disrupt it. "Computer, divert all non-essential power to weapons and shields," Sarah ordered. "And get me a secure channel to TDF command." The quantum comm crackled to life. "Commander Chen, you are in direct violation of dash." "Spare me the reprimand," Sarah cut in. "I have 300 rescued colonists and a harvester fleet bearing down on my position. Either send help or don't, but decide fast." Silence. Then, "Support ships are en route. ETA 40 minutes. Can you hold that long?" Sarah looked at Maya, who nodded firmly. We'll have to. Chen out. The first harvester ships entered weapons range, massive organic mechanical hybrids that seemed to pulse with malevolent intelligence. Sarah's tactical display lit up with targeting solutions. Maya, I need you at the sensor station. Tell me everything you can about their attack patterns. The girl moved with surprising confidence, her small hands flying over the controls. They think we're weak. Isolated. They don't understand humans yet. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Let's teach them. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for years to come. The Artemis's Hope danced through space like a leaf in a hurricane, using the rescued colonists' knowledge of harvester tactics to stay one step ahead. Maya's insights proved invaluable. They're networked. Damage one ship, and the others feel it. They'll try to compensate, create blind spots. Sarah exploited every advantage. Her ship's advanced AI predicted attack vectors seconds before they manifested. Precision strikes targeted the biological components of harvester vessels, causing cascading failures that rippled through their neural network. But they were still overwhelming. Shields failed under sustained fire. Hull breaches on multiple decks. The colonists huddled in the ship's core, protected by emergency barriers, as Sarah fought a desperate holding action. 30 minutes to reinforcements, the computer announced. Hull integrity at 42%. Maya's voice carried over the chaos. Commander. Their flagship, it's different. More biological. I think it's controlling the others. Sarah studied the massive vessel, its surface writhing with tentacular appendages. A command ship. Cut off the head. And the body dies, Maya finished. It was suicide too. Get that close. The flagship's defenses would tear them apart. But if they could disrupt the harvester network, even temporarily. Sarah made her decision. All power to forward shields and engines. Plot collision course. What are you doing? Maya's eyes widened. Something stupid. Hold on. The Artemis's Hope accelerated straight toward the harvester flagship, weapons firing continuously. Enemy ships moved to intercept, but Sarah had learned their patterns. She wove through their formation, taking hits but staying intact through skill and sheer determination. Impact in 10 seconds. Sarah's hands flew across the controls. Overload the FTL drive on my mark. Maya, get to the escape pod. I'm not leaving. That wasn't a request. But Maya stood her ground. You need me to coordinate the attack. We do this together. Sarah wanted to argue, but there was no time. The flagship filled their view screen, its organic weapons turning to track them. Now. The FTL drive detonated just before impact. Space itself seemed to tear as the faster-than-light explosion ripped through the harvester flagship's biological components. The neural network connecting the fleet shattered. Emergency systems activated automatically, protecting the Artemis's Hope's core as the ship tumbled through the chaos. When the sensors finally cleared, the harvester fleet was in disarray, ships firing randomly or drifting powerless. Maya cheered as human warships jumped into the system, their weapons making short work of the confused enemy vessels. Sarah allowed herself to breathe at last, watching the reinforcements mop up the remaining resistance. How did you know it would work? Maya asked. Sarah smiled. I didn't. But that's the thing about humans, sometimes our greatest strength is doing the impossible simply because we don't know it's impossible. A message from the TDF flagship interrupted them. Commander Chen, prepare for boarding and debrief. And, well done. Sarah looked at Maya. Ready to tell them what you know about the harvesters? We're going to need every advantage for what comes next. The girl nodded, her eyes bright with purpose. They thought they could break us. Make us part of their collective. But they don't understand humans at all, do they? No, Sarah agreed. They really don't. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Humanity had its first real victory against the harvesters. And they had something even more valuable: knowledge. The next time the cybernetic horrors came hunting, they'd find humanity ready and waiting. Sarah Chen and Maya Zhang had made sure of that. Intelligence war. The TDF headquarters on Mars hummed with activity. Sarah and Maya stood before the Joint Chiefs, holographic displays showing the data they'd gathered about the harvesters. 3 weeks had passed since their escape, and humanity was mobilizing for war. The harvester network isn't just communication, Maya explained, her voice steady, despite addressing the military's highest command. It's their weakness. Each drone, each ship, shares a unified consciousness. Hurt one, hurt all. Admiral Hassan leaned forward. And you learned this during your captivity? They tried to integrate me into their network. But human minds, we're different. We resist uniformity. I could see their thoughts without losing myself. Sarah stepped forward. Maya's insights have already proven invaluable. The battle at X-19 showed we can exploit their networked nature. The room's massive screens displayed tactical simulations based on their encounter. The admirals watched intently as virtual fleets clashed, testing theories and strategies. There's more, Maya continued. They're not just taking colonists for conversion. They're studying us. Learning. They fear us. Fear us? General Rodriguez scoffed. They're technologically superior in every way. Except one. Sarah activated a new hologram neural scans of harvester drones. They can't innovate. Their technology is powerful but static. They adapt through absorption, not creation. And humanity's capacity for creative problem-solving terrifies them. As if to prove her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Security feeds showed impossible images: harvester infiltration units, somehow past Mars' defensive grid. They followed us, Maya whispered. Through me. The connection. I thought I'd blocked it. Sarah's combat suit deployed instantly. Evacuation protocols, now. Get the Joint Chiefs to safety. But Maya grabbed her arm. Wait. This is an opportunity. Their infiltrators are connected to the main network. We can use that. Understanding dawned in Sarah's eyes. A backdoor into their entire system. Exactly. But we'll have to get close. Physical contact with a drone would give me direct access. The Joint Chiefs were already being rushed to secure bunkers as harvester units breached the lower levels. Sarah made a quick decision. Admiral Hassan, give me 15 minutes. If we succeed, we'll have everything we need to win this war. If we fail... She didn't finish the thought. The Admiral nodded grimly. 15 minutes, Commander. Make them count. Sarah and Maya moved through the facility's corridors, following the sounds of combat. TDF security forces engaged the infiltrators with conventional weapons, barely slowing them down. There. Maya pointed to a lone drone, separated from its group. Sarah's enhanced reflexes took over. She tackled the drone, her armor systems barely protecting her from its defensive surge. Maya darted forward, pressing her hands against its biomechanical skull. The girl's eyes went wide. Information flooded her consciousness: harvester battle plans, fleet positions, weaknesses. But the drone was fighting back, trying to subsume her mind into the collective. Sarah, she gasped. Can't, hold. Focus on my voice, Sarah commanded, holding her steady. You're human. Individual. They can't take that from you. Maya's consciousness became a battlefield. The harvester collective pushed against her mental defenses, trying to overwhelm her with sheer processing power. But human minds were messy, creative, unpredictable. She turned their own network against them, using their unified nature to spread chaos through their system. Across Mars, other infiltration units suddenly froze. Through the facility's windows, Sarah watched distant harvester ships appearing in orbit, stutter, and drift. Maya's eyes snapped open. Got it. Everything. Their plans, their deployments, and something else. Something they're hiding. What? Their origin. They're not invaders, Sarah. They're refugees, running from something worse. Something that's still chasing them. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. The harvesters weren't just humanity's problem anymore. They were a harbinger. Security teams finally reached their position as Maya released the drone, which collapsed into inert components. She swayed, exhausted but triumphant. Did you get what we need? Admiral Hassan's voice crackled over the comm. Sarah looked at Maya, who nodded weakly. More than we expected, sir. But we need to talk. The game just got bigger. As medical teams arrived to check Maya, Sarah stared at the dead drone. The harvesters were dangerous enough, but if they were running from something worse. She pushed the thought aside. One war at a time. Thanks to Maya's connection, humanity now had the intelligence it needed to fight back effectively. The harvesters would learn that trying to absorb humanity was their biggest mistake. And whatever was chasing them? Well, humanity had a history of exceeding expectations. The real war was just beginning. But for the first time, they had hope not just of survival, but of victory. The greater threat. The war room beneath TDF headquarters had become humanity's nerve center. Holographic displays showed harvester fleet movements across known space, most retreating after Maya's cyber attack had compromised their network. Sarah studied the tactical overlay while Maya slept in the medical bay, still recovering from her mental battle. The girl had downloaded terabytes of harvester data, but one piece of information dominated all others: something was coming. Something that had turned the harvesters from conquerors into refugees. Admiral Hassan approached, his face grim. Long-range sensors just picked up something massive entering the galaxy's outer rim. Multiple objects, larger than anything we've ever encountered. The harvesters' hunters, Sarah muttered. Show me. The display shifted, revealing dark shapes moving between the stars. They defied conventional physics, bending space around them like living black holes. We're calling them the Void Walkers, Hassan said. Based on the harvester data, they're ancient. They consume entire galaxies, breaking down matter and energy to fuel their expansion. Sarah's neural implant processed the readings. The harvesters weren't trying to destroy us. They were trying to prepare us, strengthen us, make us part of their defense against these things. A cruel mercy, Hassan agreed. But still genocide. A junior officer rushed in. Commander Chen. The girl, Maya, she's awake. And she's saying something's happening. Sarah found Maya sitting upright in her hospital bed, eyes unfocused. They're talking to me, she whispered. The Void Walkers. They know we hurt the harvesters. They're curious about us. What do they want? To understand. They've never encountered resistance before. The harvesters fled, but humans, we fight back. We're different. Sarah's tactical mind raced. Can you show me what you're seeing? Maya took her hand. Instantly, Sarah's neural implant connected to something vast and alien. The Void Walker's consciousness was unlike anything she'd encountered, not a network like the harvesters, but a singular entity split across multiple forms. They're offering a choice, Maya said. Submit to consumption, or prove we deserve to exist. Sarah pulled back, breaking the connection. How? A test. One ship, one crew, against one of theirs. If we win, they'll leave our galaxy. If we lose. Admiral Hassan had followed them. Out of the question. We can't risk humanity's fate on a single battle. But Sarah saw the logic. The Void Walkers want to understand us. And this is how humans have always faced impossible odds, not with overwhelming force, but with skill, courage, and ingenuity. I'm going with you, Maya declared. Absolutely not. I'm the only one who can communicate with them directly. And after the harvesters. I need to face this. We both do. Sarah recognized the determination in those young eyes. The same drive that had helped them survive the harvesters. Hassan watched the exchange, then sighed. I'll have the Artemis's Hope refitted with our latest tech. If you're going to face an ancient cosmic horror, you should at least have the best weapons we can provide. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of preparation. The Artemis's Hope emerged from its refit bristling with prototype weapons and experimental shields. Its AI had been upgraded with Maya's harvester data, giving it unprecedented tactical capabilities. The crew was handpicked, the best pilots, engineers, and tactical officers in the TDF. Each knew the stakes, one battle to determine humanity's right to exist. As they prepared to depart, Admiral Hassan pulled Sarah aside. The Void Walkers aren't just testing our combat capabilities. They're testing our nature. Remember that. Sarah nodded, understanding. Humanity's greatest strength had never been its weapons, but its spirit, the ability to face the impossible with determination and hope. The Artemis's Hope broke orbit, heading for the designated battleground, a remote star system already stripped of life by the Void Walkers. Maya stood on the bridge beside Sarah, both watching as their opponent came into view. It was beautiful in its terrifying majesty, a ship that seemed built from darkness itself, bending light around it like a living singularity. The fate of humanity would be decided here, in combat with something that had existed since the dawn of time. Sarah took a deep breath. All hands, battle stations. Let's show them what humanity can do. The final battle was about to begin. And for the first time in their ancient existence, the Void Walkers were about to learn what it meant to face an enemy that refused to submit, refused to run, and refused to die. Humanity's greatest test awaited. Humanity's stand. The Artemis's Hope faced the Void Walker vessel across the empty battlefield of space. Sarah's tactical display showed readings that defied physics. Their opponent's ship absorbed all scanning attempts, existing as a tear in reality itself. They're waiting, Maya said, her connection to the ancient entity translating its intentions. The test begins when we make the first move. Sarah understood. This wasn't just combat, it was a demonstration of humanity's approach to impossible challenges. All hands, execute Protocol Prometheus. The Artemis's Hope split into 3 parts, a maneuver they developed while fighting the harvesters. The main ship contained the bridge and vital systems, while 2 autonomous sections carried specialized weapons and shields. The Void Walker responded with casual elegance, tendrils of dark energy reaching across space. Where they touched, reality distorted. One autonomous section of the Artemis's Hope vanished completely, erased from existence. Now, Sarah commanded. The remaining ships executed a complex dance, their movements orchestrated by both human intuition and AI precision. The Void Walker's energy tendrils followed, but hid only holograms and sensor ghosts. Maya's eyes widened. They're impressed. They've never seen deception used this way. The Artemis's Hope unleashed its experimental weapons, quantum disruptors, designed to target the fabric of spacetime itself. The Void Walker's defenses absorbed most hits, but some struck home, creating ripples in its perfect darkness. But their opponent was ancient and powerful. A wave of gravitational force crushed their second autonomous section, nearly tearing the main ship apart. Shields failed, hull breaches spreading across multiple decks. We can't match their power, Sarah realized. But we don't have to. She turned to Maya. Can you still reach them? The girl nodded, understanding. Their true weapons weren't physical at all. Maya opened her mind to the Void Walker, but instead of receiving its thoughts, she transmitted humanity's story. Every triumphant failure, every moment of courage and despair. The art, the music, the endless creativity that defined their species. Sarah added her own experiences through her neural implant, the determination that had driven her to save the colonists, the bond she'd formed with Maya, the hope that kept humanity fighting against impossible odds. The Void Walker's attack paused. Its vast consciousness absorbed these new concepts, trying to understand creatures that created rather than consumed, that found strength in cooperation rather than conquest. Keep going, Sarah encouraged. Show them everything. Maya projected more: children's laughter, ocean waves, the first steps on distant worlds. The joy of discovery, the pain of loss, the complexity that made humans unique. The Void Walker's form shifted, its darkness taking on hints of color. Through Maya's connection, its response came clearly: you are inefficient. Chaotic. Your existence makes no logical sense. That's exactly why we survive, Sarah replied. Logic alone can't predict what humans will do when pushed to their limits. The ancient ship vanished, leaving the damaged Artemis's Hope floating in empty space. Emergency crews rushed to contain hull breaches, while Sarah helped Maya to her feet. Did we just win a war by confusing an ancient cosmic horror with human nature? Maya asked, managing a tired smile. Sarah laughed. Apparently being unpredictable has its advantages. She looked out at the stars, still shining, still offering endless possibilities for humanity's future. We should get home. There's a lot of work to do. The Artemis's Hope limped back toward Earth, carrying news of humanity's greatest victory. They had faced extinction twice, first from the harvesters, then from the force that drove them. Both times, humans had prevailed not through superior strength or technology, but through the very traits that made them unique. Sarah watched Maya sleeping peacefully in the medical bay. The girl had helped bridge the gap between humanity and two alien intelligences, proving that understanding could be as powerful as any weapon. The Void Walkers would keep their word, Sarah was certain of that. They had encountered something they couldn't simply consume and catalog. Humanity's chaotic nature, their ability to face impossible odds with creativity and courage, had earned them the right to exist on their own terms. As Earth grew larger in their view screen, Sarah reflected on how far they'd come. The price of survival had been high, but it had taught them invaluable lessons. Humanity wasn't just surviving anymore, they were evolving, growing, proving themselves worthy of their place among the stars. The next challenge would come, as it always did. But humans would face it as they faced everything, with determination, ingenuity, and the unshakable belief that nothing was truly impossible. The stars beckoned, full of new mysteries to solve and wonders to discover. And humanity was ready.